and Ocala.
Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well.
Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talk. It's Thursday. Utmost respect for the process that you have to go through. And it's very vicious right now. But God love any of you people.
You must have
and
watched
it's you
our
people.
meeting.
God love any of you people who put yourself out there to run for public office. And then put your Facebook pages out there. And how often you change your underwear becomes public record. And how often your kid cries in church. It's ridiculous the things people go and find about other people during election cycles. I'm watching it real close because there's 15 people for the city of Ocala. And this is for a $200 a month job. Right. It's not for a job like you guys do. This is for $200 a month job. There's some mean, nasty people out there. And I'm not sure I wouldn't confront some of them and beat the hell out of them if I was running. So it's a good thing I don't run for office.
So, as we all know, I got married in 2019.
You did?
Remarried.
You did.
I was engaged the end of 2017. We didn't plan our wedding in 2018 because I had a campaign to run.
Yep, I remember that campaign.
And probably one of the hardest things that my new husband had to do, because you know him, he's not a shy guy.
He is not.
And he likes to put his opinion out there.
He is opinionated.
So I think one of the hardest things that he had to do was
not do that.
Say anything to anyone who put their opinion out there, which there weren't very many. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I think the citizens of Marion County still think I'm doing a good job, and so there weren't too many of those. But I will tell you, it's very, very difficult. I have always run on the philosophy since 2010 when I ran the first time. I'm not going to tell you about what my opponent has done, what my opponent hasn't done. I'm not going to point out their flaws to you, because that's not what I want to hear from a candidate. What I want to hear from a candidate
solutions.
Is what you're going to do. I want to know about you, and I want to know what you're going to do. And I want an actual plan. I don't want just...
Somebody says, I'm here for the first responders and the police. Yeah, so are everybody else running. What's your plan?
I want to know what your thoughts are, where you see our community, gauge our community being, and then what issues you see, and then what are you going to do about it? What's your plan?
I am hosting a candidates forum all next week.
Good.
District 1's coming in on Monday. District 3's coming in on Tuesday. District 4 coming in on Wednesday. District 5 on Thursday. Then mayoral candidates on Friday. So I've been watching either in attendance or on video and all these forums and everything. I don't think they're ready for Tom Schmitz. I promise you, I don't think they're ready for it. Because I'm not going to – they're going to start to dance. No. That's not the question.
I might be the only one
That's not the question I ask. Let's get back to the question I ask.
I might be the only one that's really ever ready for you.
And my wife.
There you go.
My wife's ready. And another person that will remain nameless that is ready for me because she's just mean and ornery and ready for me. We'll leave her nameless. We'll leave her nameless.
That's good.
But
there needs to be a few people. But now that's going to make me think of something else.
Uh-oh. Oh, by the way, you'll be happy to know my wife and I took the plunge and got our first vaccination. We're getting our second vaccination in 2 weeks. Good folks at Pathways Pharmacy gave it to us. And it's because my wife's come to me and she goes, I know you're against the vaccination. I know you don't think it's that big a deal. But my parents are in their late years. And you like my parents, I like my parents, and they've told us we can't come visit unless we do something to protect them. So we made a decision as a family to get the shots to protect the elderly parents of my wife And somebody goes, but I thought you, and look, the vaccine is the vaccine. I've said on record I didn't think it was that big a deal, but my wife asked me to do this for the safety of the family. And whatever the reason, you're okay with us getting it, whatever reason we chose to be the reason.
I think, as I have said publicly, I would never support a mandate.
Yes, I know that.
I would, and there are many mandates I would never support.
Yes, there is.
I do think that people should educate themselves with their physician. As well as I do, a lot of people are watching social
Everybody's
media.
WebMD. At WebMD, you get if you get your medical advice from Facebook and Instagram, go ahead and die.
Well, Tom, that's
Tom at
Tom.
WOCA.com.
No, Tom, don't say things like that.
Send all correspondence to Tom at WOCA.com.
I believe that you need to talk to your physician. I believe that, and if you have more than one, talk to more than one
Make an
physician.
informed decision.
Make an informed decision. That's all I'm asking people to do. And I will tell you, as you know, I'm just out this week. I had COVID.
Yeah. And your husband had a bad case of it.
My husband had it. He didn't have a terribly bad case, but he had it worse than I did.
Okay,
That's
first
100%
off,
sure.
it probably wasn't worse than yours, but as men, we're big whiny babies
Oh, no.
when we get sick.
Oh, no, he ended up with a touch of pneumonia.
Yeah,
And
but he's
when
still
I
a big
say-
whiny baby because he's a man. We're big whiny babies when we get sick.
Well, and when I say it wasn't terribly bad, let me rephrase that. It was bad enough.
Hello, 5 days.
But there are people out there that
Lot
that
worse.
are much
Yeah.
worse than he is, and I think that's why I say it wasn't terribly bad. I was fortunate enough that I practically had one whole day of a fever, and then maybe had a little touch of one the next 2 days. I had a little bit of the cough. I didn't get the congestion. I didn't get the pneumonia. I didn't get the body aches. I didn't get the nausea. I didn't get many of the other things that a lot of people are experiencing.
I know what you mean, because there's a guy that just got out of hospital after 227 days in the hospital, on a ventilator and in the hospital, recovering from COVID. That's an extreme case.
That is an extreme case.
But he lived.
And
They were able to bring him back from the brink. He said in the interview, I thought I was probably done 2 or 3 different times.
Wow. It's, I just, as I was saying, I was home for a couple weeks. I was monitoring the stats. And basically what I've been told, you're either going to get your vaccination or you're going to get COVID. And there are people that get vaccinated that still get COVID. But the stats don't lie. If you've had that vaccine, the chances are you're going to have a much milder case.
But are the stats coming out of the CDC? Because
No,
they lie.
So my stats that I'm relying on, that I'm watching, are the number of positives that we have
In Marion County.
in Marion
So
County.
you're looking at the numbers here, not what
Yes.
the CDC is giving you.
I'm not looking at anything else. So I get the numbers every day on our positives and how many are unvaccinated, how many are vaccinated. And usually a week ago, last Friday.
497 that were hospitalized, 492 of them were unvaccinated.
Well, I don't have that number. I'm just talking about positives. We had a day where we had over 600 positives. It was a 30% positivity rate
Of people being tested.
of people that were positive.
Right. but
30% of the people being tested
were
yes.
positive.
Yes.
But 600 still way shy of what we were in the
No, that's
high
our
days.
highest day
Was it?
ever.
What, 600
our
was?
highest day ever. And out of that number, there were 5. It was either 4 or 5 that were not vaccinated. Or no, I'm sorry. That only 5 were vaccinated.
Right. Everybody else was unvaccinated.
Yeah, let me make sure that everybody heard that correctly. Out of the over 600,
Only 5 were
five
vaccinated.
were vaccinated. And then when I went to the hospitals, which I was getting, and we put that information out, 88% of the people being hospitalized were not vaccinated. And when you delve down into the ones that are being hospitalized that are vaccinated, the majority of them have major underlying health conditions.
Here's the only thing that aggravates me, because I went to go to do a surgical procedure at one of our local hospitals. They did a test on me where they rubbed my nose.
The PCR.
It came back the health department didn't. I called in and they gave me a text, said you've been positive for COVID. So I went to my primary care physician immediately.
Right.
I said, I want a second opinion, get a test, because I've heard tests are inaccurate and stuff. I want a second opinion. My primary physician ran it, said I didn't have it.
You were negative.
Right. Then the next day, my wife says, well, get a third opinion. So I set another appointment, went and got tested again, negative. So in 3 days, I had 1 positive, 2 negatives. The hospital that I was going to get the surgery at said, we don't care about your 2 negatives. All we care about is the 1 positive we got, so we're not doing your surgery.
That's interesting.
Then the health department called me because I got to quarantine for 10 days with a positive. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the health department calls me. I got the positive test on the 3rd of the month, like 4 months ago. 10 days later was the 14th of the month. The Marion County Health Department reaches out to me on the 19th of the month to ask me how my quarantine's going. That's the frustrating part of all of this to me.
And I understand that. A couple things I'll have to check into.
Yeah, that just sometimes the misinformation and don't get me wrong, the political geniuses that are now medical geniuses that during football season will be football geniuses on Facebook drive me crazy as well.
I know.
They drive me crazy. So, but is the message starting to get through?
The message is starting to get through. So as of August 13th, we had 2,655 new COVID-19 cases from August 6th through August 12th. That's a 27.4% positivity rate. And
1 out of every 4 tested was sick.
Yes.
A little over 1 out of every 4 that tested was sick.
Yes. And I think the thing that,
And we want it to be less than 1 out of 10.
And this is what we expected to see last year.
And we didn't.
And I kind of think that we had let our guard down a little bit.
Well, this Delta variant is much more contagious. They say it may not be as serious, but it's much more contagious.
I don't know if I agree with that because of the number of younger people that we're seeing hospitalized and actually dying.
I'm just, according to
I
experts.
know, but I mean,
you're right. I agree. I see people in there. I had a friend in Atlanta whose son, 24 years old, dead.
We have a 28-year-old in our community that just passed last weekend. Look at Jeff Hartwell.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he was perfect health.
He was a healthy guy.
Yeah. So
anyway,
make an informed decision. Get the vaccine if you want to get the vaccine, and the county strongly suggests that you should want to get the vaccine.
Well, we're just encouraging people.
Right, encouraging.
To make informed decisions
just like
and talk to their
Just like the
their
sign says, we
provider.
encourage you. I go to a couple of places, says this place encourages mask wearing. They don't mandate it, but they encourage. And I'm amazed at, like, I went in this place yesterday, and on the front door it says, while not requiring masks in our establishment, we strongly encourage everyone to wear a mask and social distance. So I opened the door, and I looked, and I shut the door, went back to my car, and got a mask. Somebody goes, you got bullied into wearing a mask? Everybody in the restaurant I went in had a mask on. So I thought, I'm not going to be the oddball so that some wacko can come to me and go, rah, rah, rah. Some Karen can yell at me for not wearing a mask. So I put my mask on, walked through the restaurant, went to where I wanted, took it off. It's not that big a deal. It shouldn't be causing fights in Walmart like I've seen happen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's not that big a deal.
If it's our choice, mandates are a big deal.
Right.
But our choice is not a big deal.
Right. And I will tell you, I got Chad, actually, he had to go on a trip, and he ended up buying like 12 N95 masks from a vending machine in the airport on accident.
Right.
Okay? He
But
pushed
thank
the
goodness he
wrong
has
button.
Thank goodness he had them.
Well, I have been wearing, when I would
The
go
little
places
paper
and
mask.
I would wear my cloth one.
Yeah.
And I can't breathe in those.
No, because they're usually 2 or 3 material pieces thick.
We were somewhere, and we had to wear it. And so he pulled one of those out, and I opened it, and I put it on, and I was like, I can breathe in this.
Oh, it's got a big bell and everything. There's a lot of room.
Like, what have I been doing all this time?
Because the cloth mask is right over your mouth and nose.
And it like.
And you talk like this when you try to talk to people.
So anyway, that's where I'll go back to. At that point, I was like, okay, this isn't really that big of a deal, and fine.
But
Whatever.
COVID is, look, our hospitals are filling up. I talked to somebody at
Yes, they are.
Ocala Regional, which they said their ICUs are full, the emergency rooms got people in the hallways. So if you don't think, now I went to one of the pop-up emergency rooms, And I asked the doctor there, how many COVID? He goes, none. We don't have any. He goes, those cases, that people realize when they're that sick, they're going to the emergency room at the hospital. They're not coming here.
So Chad actually went to one of the standalone ERs to get his x-ray done when he felt the tightness in his chest. And that's where he got his confirmation that he had pneumonia. So, and we called to make sure that they would see him ahead of time. So I think that it just depends. You know, he went there because I didn't want him going to the emergency room.
Do you still think the governor's doing the right thing?
On which issue?
On COVID. The way he's saying that if you do a mask mandate, that's against my executive order. I'm going to, like right now, Alachua County, they just set penalties to Broward County and Alachua County, saying you're not getting state funding until you do away with these mandates. And I know there's not going to be a mandate in our county. I know that. But the governor's playing a little hardball with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how it shakes out. I want to talk to you about something else now, though, because everybody
talks about COVID. I have COVID fatigue.
Yeah. COVID is serious, and we get that. But I want to talk to you about something else.
All right.
Much nicer exchange between the sheriff and the county commissioners at the last workshop than the workshop before. Mm-hmm. Are we starting to see some common ground here with the Marion County Sheriff's Office budget request and the county commissioners, what they're asking for the sheriff with his budget request? Because it was contentious two workshops ago. It was a little dicey.
Yeah, I if you go back and watch it, and if you listen to the conversation, I think most of the contention came from what happened with PSC.
Yes.
I really don't think anybody had a big problem or has a big problem with the sheriff's budget or his request. I think we all get it. Our community is growing. We played catch up for many years. That's why the budget has grown the way that it has. We all understand that. And so I think that probably those conversations, we needed to have those conversations. It needed to be hashed out.
It was a little contentious.
It was contentious, but I don't think it was contentious on.
No,
and Sheriff Billy and I have a great working relationship. Sheriff Woods and I have a great working relationship. We have a lot of respect for each other. I think he got a little contentious.
Well, he was in here, and I asked him, I go, you look like you had a little chip on your shoulder. He goes, well, when I'm talking about the men and women in uniform, sometimes I get a little fired up. So I asked him about that. I go, it looked like you were a little fired up when you got there, Billy. He goes, well, I do what I have to do to go to bat for my men and women, and the county commissioners understand that, and I understand they have a job to do as well, and we're going to get it figured out. And it looks like in this workshop, you're well on your way to getting it figured out.
Oh, absolutely, and you're right. I mean, we all have a job to do. He has a job to do. We have a job to do. We're the line on taxpayer money.
Yeah.
And if we didn't ask the questions, I think people might get a little upset about that. I think that they want us to ask the questions.
Yes. Still not as contentious, though, as some previous budget talks with the Sheriff's Department. So we're still a long way from there.
Are you going all the way back to what?
Still a long way from there. A long time ago. A long time ago.
2013?
Long time ago.
My first year as chair.
Long time ago. Let's talk about litter.
The task force is on its way.
The task force is on its way. I will tell you that I serve on the Marion County Historical Commission at the pleasure of Commissioner Stone. My phone rang about 12 days ago. It was Commissioner Stone saying, hey, need somebody on the litter task force. Are you okay with that? I go, you called to ask me to do something for you, Michelle? I serve at the pleasure of Commissioner Stone. So I'm going to be on the task force and look forward to it because I'm kind of a different person, as everybody knows. I am the person that I'll see you throw a bag out in the Publix parking lot or something. I'll go pick the bag up, shove it in your window, and say, no, this is yours. So
just be careful doing that.
I'm a little different.
People are crazy
I know.
these days.
People tell me, Kat, you have met me, right?
Well, I got in trouble one time because I came off of the northbound ramp at 484 and I-75.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting there at the ramp, and there was a panhandler. And I rolled my window down, and I said, you can't be here. And I was on the phone with somebody on my Bluetooth. And I'm telling this guy, you need to move along. This is against the law. You can't be here. And so as I left, the person I was on the phone with says, Kathy, you cannot do that.
Sure
and
you
I
can.
said, what do you mean? They said, you never know who you're going to be chastising or getting onto. You can't do that.
I know you to be a God-fearing woman. I know
yeah.
faith is very important to you. I know you know God has a plan. And when it's your turn to go meet God, it's your turn, whether it's at the exit ramp at 484 chastising somebody or whether it's walking down a sidewalk. So by all means, as a county commissioner, you keep chastising them people that are breaking the law.
Well, I'm a God-fearing woman, but I'm also, I also have my conceal carry.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Anyway,
it is what it is.
Not that I would just randomly go out and do something crazy.
This litter task force is something that is needed.
Absolutely.
Because I drove out in the forest after she asked me this. I took a trip out in the forest just to see what was going on. There are dirt roads out in the forest where there are whole house loads of trash. Washers and dryers and couches and that are just at the end of dirt roads out in the forest.
Yeah.
And that's extreme. But then you ride around my neighborhood, 326, 36th Avenue, 25th Avenue and all, and see all the fast food bags and everything. And actually was a trash bag full of trash that I got some out of it with address and everything. I went and just put it on their front porch.
Did you really?
I went and took it back to their house, put it on their front porch.
I love it. That's good.
With a piece of mail, wrote on a piece of mail, this is how I found you, and a couple words that I won't say on the radio. Know that I know who you are. If I find this kind of trash bag on my road again, it'll be given to the police, not back to you.
Yeah, littering is a crime.
Yeah.
I have found the weirdest things.
You hadn't found what Rondo finds in his parking lot every day.
Dirty diapers.
Every day
It's
almost somebody throws a dirty diaper out in one of the parking lots around here. At the mall, there used to be dirty diapers all over the mall parking lot.
You got to wonder where have we failed?
Home training.
There you go.
My mom would say them boys ain't got no home training.
Home training. I like that. I might have to start using that one.
Yeah, because that's what it takes. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
People just don't say at 23, hey, I think I'll roll my window down, throw something out of it. Mm-hmm. At 23, you've seen your uncles do it, your parents do it, your sisters do it. You've learned that behavior. That's not just something you all of a sudden say, wonder if I get in trouble if I throw this out the window.
I think that's where it's going to be really good that we're doing this litter task force in conjunction with the school board, the sheriff's office, OPD. I mean, all the different entities that are going to be involved, and that we're also talking about educating the kids very young at school. We're going to start talking to them about that. And what's going to happen when little Becky Sue sees Mama throw something?
She'll chastise Mama.
And she chastises Mama. Yeah.
Well, you got time to stay for a little bit longer because we got some more things to talk about.
A little bit longer.
More things to talk about. It is Commissioner Kathy Bryant. She is in the studio with us talking about the county commission news of the past couple weeks. We'll be back after this short time out. You are listening to Ocala Talks, the only local and live news that deals with Marion County, Ocala, Donnell, and Bellevue, and all the other municipalities only in Marion County. We'll be right back after this time out on WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
How to grow a unique and tasty veggie that chefs love. That's coming up on This Land of Ours.
I'm Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Freed. Everyone knows Florida grows the world's best produce. From citrus to strawberries, watermelon to blueberries, our produce growers feed our families and the world. With over $125 million in annual revenue for growers,